Hi there, it's HYZ Marie here, and I am a huge Zelda fan. The Zelda series is slowly overtaking my life and this channel, and you know what? I'm mostly fine with that. But there's one thing I'm not fine with, and that is Princess Zelda herself, specifically the Ocarina of Time version. Why? Simple, really. She's a complete idiot! Now, if you're a longtime Zelda fan, you probably know about this whole thing. But if you aren't, or you enjoy watching someone legitimately crash out of a children's game from 1998, this video is for you. Yo, weirdo. Basically, the entire plot of Ocarina of Time, including the 7-year Ganon takeover and the notorious timeline split, would never have happened if Zelda had just clicked 2 brain cells together at the start. To be fair, she was 10 years old at the time. Which is precisely why we do not let 10-year-olds run kingdoms. So, what happened? Well, near the start of the game's events, Princess Zelda, who is gifted with visions of the future because she's descended from the goddess Hylia, long story, sees visions that the king of the Gerudo tribe, Ganondorf, is planning to overthrow Hyrule and steal the wish-granting Triforce. Her father, the king of Hyrule, dismisses these fears as unfounded. Granted, that is frustrating. Ganondorf is very bad news, and he should have listened and been a bit more careful, but what she promptly did made everything worse. Where it really hits the fan is when Zelda is visited by a young boy named Link, who, basically having grown up in a forest with 0 adult supervision except for 1 tree, is not ready for the absolute disaster of a plan she's about to drop on him. Basically, the Triforce is in a dimension known as the Sacred Realm, and you can only get there by having 3 spiritual stones to enter the Temple of Time, where the Triforce is guarded by one final key, the Master Sword. Drawing the sword from its stone pedestal allows access to the Sacred Realm, and thus the Triforce. So, if Ganon thinks he can get past these various magical, sacred, super strong seals, surely the best thing to do is for Link and Zelda to do it first, because he definitely just can't steal it from 2 10-year-olds way more easily than from the most guarded location in the kingdom. And to make matters worse, the sword has to be drawn by someone of pure heart, or depending on your interpretation of the lore, only by the chosen hero and no one else. So there is literally no possible freaking way that Ganondorf can get the Triforce on his own. Truly a flawless plan this is, as long as what you intend to do is hand it to him on a silver platter. 3 moons, this chick is stupid. Alright, so this plan goes just how it was supposed to. By which I mean Link goes and fetches the spiritual stones, draws the Master Sword, and promptly lets Ganon walk right into the Sacred Realm and get the Triforce. Without even a fight, because our little fairy boy has another aspect of this stupid idea to contend with, a 7-year coma. Yep, turns out the Master Sword is pretty picky about who can use it, for good reason, and decides that 10-year-old Link isn't a suitable wielder unless he grows up first. So it promptly puts him in a coma for 7 years, allowing Ganon to wreak all the havoc he wants with his shiny new triangle. Thanks, Fee. You're really helping here. Would you like to check the batteries in my Wii remote while you're at it? So what does Zelda decide to do for 7 years? Something pretty smart, actually. She decided to disguise herself as a male Sheikah named Sheik. Ah yes, much creative. Very wow. So this plan is actually going pretty well as she guides Link along after he wakes up, and she does a pretty good job of filling him in on what he missed and what he has to do to fix his entire mess. Because obviously, he's the one who has to clean this up. Until the next stupid decision. See, the Triforce split when Ganondorf got to it, so he only has 1/3, the Triforce of Power, which makes him incredibly strong and is nothing to sneeze at, but it doesn't grant wishes on its own. The full Triforce can only be harnessed by someone with a balanced heart, someone who has wisdom, power, and courage in equal measure. Ganondorf only has power, so he got that piece, and Link and Zelda got courage and wisdom respectively. Since he really wants to have the whole thing, Ganondorf has been looking for Zelda to get her piece and trying to just figure out who has the third, since Link was hidden in the Sacred Realm during the whole coma thing, and a random kid from the forest isn't the first person you'd expect anyway. Hence the disguise, to keep the Triforce of Wisdom out of his greedy paws. Only, Zelda decides the best way to reveal her true identity to Link is not to tell him, not to, take off the wrap hiding her face, not even to say something only the two of them would know, but to use her Triforce piece to revert back. Hey Ganondorf, I'm right here! I've got the Triforce! Come and get it! Which is what he does, because unlike the princess, he's not a frickin' dum-dum. Oh, but it's okay. Link fixes the whole thing, because of course this was his job. He heals Ganondorf, probably, and the day is saved! There's a bit of cleanup left to do after 7 years of Ganondorf's evil reign of terror, but that's doable. Wait, Zelda? What are you doing with that highly dangerous magical artifact that controls the flow of time itself? Okay, so to give her credit where credit is due, Princess Zelda realized she screwed up. Therefore, the best thing to do is definitely to use time travel to undo it all. Link gets to finish living out his childhood because he went through a lot of crap for this. I have the video on the topic of that whole trauma-filled mess if you want to see it. And he can go back and warn the king. He'll take his Triforce piece back, which will cause the whole thing to split in the original timeline, and give a piece to Zelda, making it so there are 2 children with design power who agree that this Ganondorf guy needs to go. So we can have 2 nickels, because it's weird that this happened twice. Great! Great plan! Except for how it ruins multiple timelines at once. This use of time travel actually creates a paradox, which is only resolved with the infamous timeline split. Yes, we can blame Princess Zelda for the time crossword puzzle. So there are 3 branches, and none of them are good. First, the child branch. Zelda sends Link back in time with his Triforce piece, which causes the full Triforce to split again, which adds credence to Zelda's warning because she now has the Triforce of Wisdom. How does she get that? This plan works alright-ish. Link comes and tells the king what's up, he changes his mind, and Ganondorf is executed for treason. Or is he? Because remember how the Triforce split, giving Zelda and Link each a piece? Ganondorf still gets the power piece! Zelda, you idiot! When they try to execute him, he survives because of the Triforce of Power, then kills a couple sages when they try to seal him away, so they chuck him in a magic mirror, which definitely isn't going to cause any problems a century later when he finds an army in the mirror who happens to really hate Hyrule. So that happened. But hey, that's a century down the line, so at least Link still gets to relive his childhood, right? Right? Well, actually, no, because this timeline is the one containing Majora's Mask. You know, the darkest game in Zelda history, with themes of grief and loss, where you unavoidably watch NPCs die in front of you as a child. And it's also the game where Link eventually becomes a ghost and can't move on to the afterlife because of his regrets. So, the child timeline is a bust. What about the others? Hopefully they're better, right? Well, believe it or not, the child timeline was the best outcome. See, the other side of this paradox is the adult timeline, where Ganondorf has been killed, but he still got to cause a lot of damage during his 7-year reign. So just rebuild, and it's alright. Except no, because now Link has been removed from the timeline. So there is no hero. Every version of Link, including the one from Ocarina of Time, but maybe not Wind Waker, we'll get to that, has the hero spirit, which is passed down to the next hero when Hyrule is in danger again. Is this an actual spirit like the Avatar cycle? Is this a series of traits? Nobody knows, but since Link has left the timeline, the hero spirit has 2. And also because of the paradox created by the Triforce of Courage leaving, the full Triforce and the child timeline split, but the one here is left behind and just breaks. The Triforce of Courage shatters into pieces which are scattered across Hyrule. I'm sure we don't need that thing anyway. And just like in the child timeline, Ganondorf is not dead. At least, he's not too dead to come back a few generations later. But now there's no hero spirit, so no hero, so Ganondorf can rule unchecked. When contacted for assistance, the gods decide that Ganondorf can't rule Hyrule if there's no Hyrule to rule, and just flood the entire planet. Not only does this cause Hyrule as a kingdom to be wiped off the map alongside massive death and destruction, the Zora, Gerudo, and Kokiri go extinct, and the Gorons are almost wiped out too. Oh, and Ganondorf still isn't even dead. So he comes back to overtake the now flooded kingdom, but once again without a hero to oppose him. A random kid has to decide to go stop him in Wind Waker and fish the Triforce pieces out of the sea to assemble them with his bare hands. This kid, Wind Waker Link, is frickin' metal, but Hyrule is still completely destroyed. It does not get rebuilt, and it's all Zelda's fault for messing with the timeline. The third branch is a weird one. Link loses, and Hyrule falls into ruin. Yep. Somewhere along the way, he didn't even beat Ganondorf, who wouldn't have needed to be beaten if Zelda wasn't so gosh dang stupid. We love our idiot princesses, don't we? So yeah, that's how one idiot princess opened the door for an evil tyrant, got herself captured, and doomed 3 separate timelines. Lovely stuff. And the moral of the story is that 10-year-olds are stupid, I guess. Or just Princess Zelda specifically. She's just really, really dumb. Peach may be useless most of the time, but she at least doesn't make things actively worse. So yeah, Zelda lore is lovely stuff, isn't it? Anyways, if you like Zelda theories and art, stick around. I've got a theory on Link's fate in Ocarina of Time, and several fan theories on other topics, plus a few little Zelda animations, because this hyperfixation has had me in its clutches for over a year now. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now!